Hey everybody, welcome back to Advanced Kayak Angler. I appreciate you tuning in. As always, hopefully you all had a good 4th of July. I know mine was fun. And this weekend, got a couple new trophies. Won the AKAT Alabama Kayak Anglers Tour here. It was on Lay Lake, pretty much my home lake, which is terrible right now. I made a post about that. I've never seen Lay Lake look worse. Even though the grass is beautiful, the Bassmaster Elite Series here was not too long ago, and they said how bad it was, and it really is. It's in a bad way right now. But yeah, and got third in the Iron City Kayak Anglers event, so that's fun. So this week, doing rain gear. I know y'all may be thinking, because I thought same thing. Why is he doing rain gear in the summer? Because I know me, and I'm here in the South. I don't work. Like it rained, it stormed really bad this weekend. Everybody had to get off the water for a little bit and kind of hide. I had to hide underneath somebody's, their back porch. I kind of snuck up there. But yeah, so rain gear, the best part about thinking about a show in the summer for rain gear is that this is whenever it's the cheapest. Every now and then I'll see a post and people will wait till they get soaked. Their gear sucks. And if your gear sucks, you've already lost. Tournament's over. And I really think there's a lot of things that can kind of those plus factors to being better on the water. But man, rain gear and cold weather gear are some of the best. And maybe we'll do a show later. I've never worn the actual wetsuit, dry suits, things like that. Just not really a need so much here for maybe a month here, but I might only get on the water once during that time. So it's usually not too bad. Obviously, it's something that'd be great to have, but it's hard to justify the price of it. But rain gear, you can get the light stuff, you can get the heavy stuff. So we're going to talk about that. Now I've got some people who've been around for a while, so they should definitely have some good input on it. So I'll bring everybody on. Mark Edwards, Susie Roloff, and Marty Hughes. How y'all doing?
Thanks for having us on.
Heck yeah, I appreciate y'all being on. And Mark and Marty, y'all just got back from the Bassmaster event, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, there's a ton of fish up there. I just drove 7.5 hours today.
Yeah.
Dang.
I drove back last night.
Yeah, I drove 7 hours last night after the tournament, took a break, and then drove another 7.
So. Oh, okay. Well, wow, you got me on that one.
Well, I appreciate y'all being on so close to the event. I know it's tough. It's a Monday right now. I've always wanted. There's so many events up there. I never go. I don't know why. Susie, you ever been up there? You're not too far,
huh? I've been up to La Crosse a couple of times. So, yep. Yeah. It can be kind of intimidating. Not gonna lie. I mean, there's a lot of water that you can cover up in that area.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll talk about that another show, I guess. But I guess first we'll talk about what are some, not necessarily brands yet, but what are some things that you're looking for in rain gear / everything, let's say dry suit on from any kind of rain gear or that kind of rain gear / cold weather gear. What are some things that you're looking for? I'll say number one, the big one is double layer on the crotch. You have a zipper, and then there'll also be another protector. Because man, you don't want to, you don't want to get, if you're going to get soaked, you don't want to start off getting soaked right there. So 2 layers of protection over the zipper. That's over the crotch area. That's number one. And I've had one before where the zipper went the wrong way. It's it made it difficult to relieve yourself. So I would want the zipper to go in a way that makes sense to get yourself out, to the elements. But so zipper over the crotch, double layer. That's that's a big one. Mark?
Me, as Gore-Tex. It's got, Gore-Tex is the key element to quality rain gear. Yeah. With any brand that you see. I mean, if it doesn't have Gore-Tex in it, I don't think it's quality. And to a certain extent, I guess you can. So the brands, if we don't want to talk about brands now, but I've used several different brands, and I don't even have a matching combo, and I've used it for several years just because it's so expensive once you buy it was several years ago. I bought a Sims. I think it's called a guide suit or something. It was an ugly yellow collar, and I believe they didn't sell it. It was at a local kayak shop, and I bought it for half off. It was $450 jacket. I bought it for $225. It was a good deal at the time. So, and I love it. It's a Sims gear thing. It is great. But I had different bibs, and they leaked. Like I had several different bibs, and they leaked. And so, while I'm with fishing online, I ended up getting a Striker brand bibs.
I've heard about their stuff. You like it?
Yeah, I really love their bibs, but they don't carry it anymore. I don't know what happened there. But I don't think they're. I was actually going to get a matching outfit and kind of look normal instead of being two different collars out there. But but the Striker brand bibs have been great. They're a lighter weight suit because you really, I think with kayaking you want a lighter weight suit. I wear waders instead of in the wintertime. Around here, I just got out of the waders like a month ago, really. So I'm already real hot down there, so I got a lightweight. But my waders ain't chest waders; they're like waist waders. So I got to have the bibs up to keep that midsection, because whatever you have, you got to make sure you covered up the midsection, because in the past I've had stuff come in from the jacket,
Gotcha.
where both of them meet. But I would say having a Gore-Tex is the key. The several different brands I've had, and the Striker brand, I've had the bibs for going on 4 years now, and they're still good. So, and the Sims jackets, it's probably 5 years old. Ugly, but it works.
Susie, how about you? I know, I think it was still whenever I was with Paddle and Finn that we talked about, had you and, I don't remember the other lady it was on with you. It might have been Christine, where I had honestly never thought about it, where women I'm not trying to make this weird, like you're trying to relieve yourself, which I truly do think about that show all the time. Like, I would think, man, if I was a woman, I wouldn't be drinking coffee in the morning. I'd be worried about.
I don't on tournament days for that specific reason. Because, I mean, like, you think it's hard enough for a lady to go, like, in the summertime. Think about it when we have, like 3 layers on when it's cold outside. It's a little tricky. But I'm going to kind of start from, like, the simpler side for people who might be, new into the sport, who are like, oh, rain gear, what should I start looking for? So the most important thing when you're looking for rain gear is there's basically 2 types. There's water resistant and there's waterproof. So there's technically 2 different ratings, and there's an easy way that you can test your current rain gear and any rain gear that you're going to try on to see which is whether or water resistant and waterproof. And the way to do that is to basically, like, you're going to blow through it. So if any air gets through, that is water resistant. If any air cannot get through, that is 100% waterproof. And so that's like the basic simplicity of kind of how I tell people to, differentiate between waterproof and water resistant. I mean, if you want to stay 100% complete dry and you don't want to go out and spend an arm and a leg, I mean, yeah, you can go to Walmart and buy your, plastic poncho type thing or whatnot, Those might be good, for the warm summer days and whatnot.
Yeah, you're going to sweat in those.
You're going to sweat in them and everything. Yeah, by all means, but you're going to stay bone dry. However, in this sport, you want something for the longevity, you want something for the comfort, and you might also want something for warmth, and for bulking up, for layers, for different purposes. So for me, when I first started out, I actually didn't know some of the differences between, water resistant and waterproof. And so the very first time I went out kayak fishing, and it wasn't like exactly a downpour, but it was kind of like a light drizzle all day, kind of like that annoying kind of rain. And I like soaked through after like the first hour. I was just miserable. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought I got good rain gear. I didn't exactly spend, like a pretty penny or anything by all means. I just, went to like, I think it was like a Big R or something like that at the time. They've all changed and everything. It might be like a Fleet Farm or something like that to some of you guys. But, after looking into it now, I was like, okay, I think I actually need to do some good research. And I'll kind of agree with Mark. Gore-Tex is actually a pretty good material / brand. In a sense, there's a lot of different brands that'll incorporate the Gore-Tex technology in a sense. The gear that I currently use, and it's mainly for kind of like my colder weather fishing, I can layer up in it and whatnot. I can either just use the coat if I want to. I can use just the bibs if I want to and use like a lighter coat. I use the Bass Pro. I think it's like the 100-mile-an-hour Gore-Tex. Yeah, I've had it for, quite a few years or whatnot, and it's been pretty solid. And also kind of like the double whammy with it too is it's also kind of like a wind protector as well. So like if, you've got wind and rain, you've got, the protection from both of those elements as well. So,
but before my current suit, I had the 100-mile-per-hour bib for 10 years, and it lasted. It fit really well. I'm heavier, but it felt, it was always loose fitting, felt great. Like, zipped all the way up on the sides, up on the legs, so it was easy to take in and out. Definitely a, quality suit for sure.
That would kind of be definitely my best input. But again, primarily for cold, your cooler and colder weather temperature. For my kind of warmer temperatures, honestly, I haven't really gotten anything other than just I've gotten like the El Cheapo Frog Tog, kind of just like raincoat, because most of the time anything that's happened in the summertime is a quick 20-minute downpour and then it's done, and you take it off, and then by the time you think about it, you're kind of already dried off, or the sun's coming out or whatnot. Or sometimes, if it's a crazy storm, you're thinking about getting off the water before it even hits, type of thing. So most of the time in the summertime, I'm not usually thinking about like a lighter weight summer gear, because I don't know, the way our weather has been the last like 5-6 years, it's been really weird. It's like spring will kind of come in, it'll be kind of cold, and they'll get really warm, and then we won't have rain for 2 months, and then it's really weird sometimes. But,
and we're really spread out. Mark, you're in West Virginia. Marty, you're in Nebraska, right?
I'm in Tornado Alley.
and Susie, you're in Illinois, right?
I'm in Illinois,
and
part
I'm
of the Midwest.
obviously Alabama. So yeah, kind of spread out here too. How about you, Marty?
Well, my rain gear is a bridge or a boat dock.
I like it.
I actually have done that many times.
That's old school.
I've done the boat dock before.
That's
totally
school,
done the boat dock.
They'd say that it's not safe during lightning, but I've never been hit yet, so I'll knock on wood. But also, I said I'd never hit a deer either, and I did 3 weeks ago, so that destroyed the Bassmobile. Anyway, I'm going to say though, for rain gear, now I'm going to say it from a different lens too, because not only from the rain, but also, as you're pedaling or paddling, or if you got a motor, you're going through the water, you're getting splashed on by waves, even on when there is no rain. And so I did get out my dry bag. I keep a dry bag with 2 things. And I want to tell a quick story first though.
Yeah, please.
This is about 20-something years ago, kayak fishing, and I thought that I was a surfer kid, California, Southern California beach guy, and I had my wetsuit, and so I thought, cold water, I'll just wear my wetsuit, and it was a shorts one. And so I wore that when I kayak fished when it wasn't very nice out. So it didn't matter if I got wet or not. But, and this is in Nebraska, by all means. Now, that one particular day, a hailstorm hit. And of course, back then, your kayaks were light enough that I laid on the beach and I laid it on top of me because there was nothing to hide from that day. So I laid the kayak on top of me while the hailstones hit it, not me. So there's some rain gear for you too. So that's old school stuff. Now let's get to this is what I wear: Kokatat wader pants.
Ooh,
These are like the best buy ever, and I've been wearing them now. I don't know how many years, many years. And of course, the bottoms have the toes in them and stuff, and so what I do is I wear these from like up here when we start in March when the ice out hits, and then I'll wear them clear up until May sometimes, depending on when spring and summer depend what they're going to make their move. And then also in October, November, sometimes December. So I wear these even though I may not have other rain gear on because you catch a fish, you net it, you bring in, you got water pouring over you, and then so I stay dry this way, and then I wear some water shoes over the top, and my socks stay absolutely dry. I wear the warm socks inside of these, and so I stay really dry. And then to make sure, because these are kind of worn out, I take that waterproof spray and I spray them and stuff too to make it even better. But I stay really dry with these for a lot of purposes. And that's even launching my kayak. I might walk in the water a little bit to get my kayak in there. And a lot of guys launch from their trailers. I just like walk in the water and do it that way. So that's one way. Another thing is I just wear I've got to deal with Bass Pro. So I wear Bass Pro stuff and I have a bone dry raincoat, and that you want to get a hood that kind of goes over your hat a little bit because otherwise it's going to drip down in you. But one most important thing, and there's all kinds of rain gear, we know that. But one thing you want to make sure of is if you have these little neoprene sleeves inside, because when you go like this, the water goes down in your arms, and somehow it's going to get your crotch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Double cuffs where the neoprene, and then you cinch it down. Then you have a second cuff, and it keeps the water out. Especially for paddling, that's like key.
And in the South when it rains, like I was in the Dominican Republic last fall. When it rains there, it doesn't get cold. In Nebraska, it might as well be snowing when it rains. Because it gets so cold, right? Am I right? It's just Susie, where you're.
Yeah.
And so, this has a little bit of a layering in it, to keep a little bit warmer too, as well. And then a hot day, you are going to sweat a little bit. But one thing for double strength is I'll wear this stuff. Plus, I'll put the El Cheapo poncho over the top of me, And one time I was in a blizzard while I was kayak fishing, and that really helped me not get, cold as fast because it breaks the wind as well. Now, does it get in the way when you fish? Yeah, but you know what? When it's blizzarding and raining, you're probably not fishing. But you're trying to find a place to go get warm again. But that's kind of what I do. And then the other thing, though, little things like having a bag of extra clothes in your truck or your car. Yeah, absolutely. Change into, because once you get wet, I mean, hypothermia can set in even in the spring. So I always have. Something ready to, and always have extra socks. I was a high school football coach, and we played, into November, and so the boys always had to have an extra pair of socks. And when it got cold, we change at halftime and get not because if your feet get cold, you're screwed.
You're done.
And so another thing, I put the little foot warmers inside the Kokatat pants if it's cold out too, stuff like that. So that's. I'm pretty simple, old schoolish, I guess, but that's how I do it.
Cool. And do y'all hand warmers? I put those, I'll carry some in a kayak and break them, and if I need more to warm up a little bit, I can help.
Now on that, what I do is I have 2 in each pocket. This is November, 2 in each pocket, and I have a dry rag, and so gloves they'll help for so much, but if your hands get wet, they're going to get cold. So I just keep drying my hands off and using the hand warmers and fishing. and that works pretty
Huh.
good. And I bet I tinker with. I've had like 20 pairs of gloves because I'm trying to find the perfect pair, and I haven't found it yet.
I was going to ask that too. Like
Hard to find.
Yeah,
I've had I've had a couple of different ones. I don't know how much money I've spent, and it seems like I'll use them going somewhere and then leaving, but I don't wear them while I'm fishing because they're not very functional to me, even ones that are supposed to be good. Have y'all found any that work?
I've got one pair that are really good, but they're not here with me here right now. But they work really well, and they even have the touchpad thing for your phone that it works with those on.
Do you know what they are?
They're in my truck, I think. Well, one of my trucks. I don't know which one. One thing I should have brought it in. I have a bag in my truck right now that has you name it in it. You know, it has the hand warmers. It has extra pair of gloves. It has a towel. It has extra clothes. I even have bibs. Like I have not. I don't wear bib waders, but I have like the bibs to keep you warmer. For like ice fishermen, and it has batteries. It's like a kit, you know, but it's a gigantic bag, and it's got buffs in it. You know, you name it, it's got it in it. And I even have an extra pair of sunglasses that are prescription in it. Everything that I would think I would need, you know. So a lot of people, they take off and they don't think of those things, and that's where they get in trouble, you know. So, but I wish I don't. Maybe I can find them here. I mean, I can't find them right now.
No, it's fine. I just didn't know if you knew the brand or not.
No, I got them on. You know, when when you type in fishing gloves, it's on your Facebook page for days. So that's how I found them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and you do it once and you'll get it for a month, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and anything else we missed? Any other kind of? I definitely like the pants if you're going to use a bib. But also the Coquetant waders. I mean, that sounds like great. Those are like pure dry, but on my bibs, I like them because they zip all the way up to the side, so it's easy to get the boots on and off. I like that.
And also, I mean, I'm old. I'm pretty old, so I mean, I got to pee about every 10 minutes in the kayak. I don't know why, especially if I drink coffee. So I just pull them down and pee out. You know, so I mean, I don't care who's around. I just go pee. But
that's right.
You know, but I don't have the double zipper or anything like that, but I don't get wet. I just go. I mean, I just go, and it's all right. It's all good.
So, there you go.
I'm just waiting for the brand to have the back to front zipper.
Yeah.
And then I'll be invested 100% in that.
Yeah.
Until then, you know, just got to make it.
Now, I will say too, Dan, is that I push the limits with. I used to have a dry suit. And they say how important it is, but man, I got claustrophobia in it, so I couldn't wear it. And I ripped the neoprene sleeves and stuff on them. So I dressed in the layers, and I figure, okay, I got my life jacket on, and I got a float plan. I got 5 minutes to get out. So when it gets really cold, the water's high 30s. I don't venture out on a real big lake. I just don't do it.
Yeah. Same.
But usually have somebody with you, or you got to be really careful. I've had 4 saves in kayaks where somebody almost drowned, and 2 of them were in 40-degree water, and they were wearing shorts and a t-shirt on a nice day, you know, and no life jacket. So, you know, it's just that there's so much of that out there. So this stuff like this is really good to let people know that, you know, we get like, you know, we've got like us here, we've probably gone fishing so much we take for granted what could happen. You know, things are good. You know, like the other day at the Mississippi River, I found rapids, you know, and if I would have turned sideways, I would have probably tipped over, you know, on it or got stuck or something. But you never know or you take a big boat that comes by and they can tip you real easy and get wet. So we got to, you know, you got to just dot your I's and cross your T's when you're doing this and think ahead a little bit, because a lot of people don't. They just go. And they think that they're not, they're what do you call it? Invincible when they get out there because they've got an iPilot, you know?
Yeah. I was fishing this weekend and got high sided by an underwater stump and just hit me just perfect where I was stuck on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, whenever I ran up on it in my Hobie, I mean, it got
Yeah.
close to tipping me over,
Yeah.
but I mean, that could happen in the winter just like that, and then you're swimming, you know.
Yeah, I'm my second year kayaking. Every time I'd get in a kayak, I'd pray, make sure I wouldn't flip, just for safety, because I was nervous in it. I wasn't comfortable, but I liked the competition of the tournaments and stuff. And we had a tournament on the South Branch of Potomac. It's 5 hours away from my house. Even though it's a club tournament, I still went to it. And I look at the gauges and stuff, but I didn't really look at the average and what it was now. I knew it was way high. And I just fished off the bank all day. I had one day of practice and I fished off the bank, and I was kind of like, I pick an area and I'm just going to put in and like fish an area, not like do a float or anything. And I just kept, just going down the river, and I found this hole, and I was like, I'm going to put in here just to waste the rest of the day out. And I got in the river and turned over, and I thought I wasn't going to make it. It was nasty. And I didn't have the proper, it was April, a real warm day. It was like in its high 70s, but the water was probably in the low 60s or something. And I guess I was in the water for what seemed like 10 minutes, but it was probably more like 4 or 5. And my kayak got stuck. I couldn't bring it back to the bank. My anchor had fell out and it was hung. So I couldn't get my kayak back, and I couldn't touch bottom. And I had a couple rods in my hand, so I just, heck with the gear, save yourself, So anyway, I was fortunate enough to get the kayak back later on. Jet boat come up the river, but it's not good. I mean, I really thought I wasn't gonna make it. So, but luckily, like Marty said, I had dry clothes in the truck and stuff.
And one thing you guys can do, people are listening, is if you do get wet, strip yourself down, get in your vehicle, and turn the heater on, and get yourself dried off. Don't stand outside, because one of my sons actually fell in the water when we first started kayak fishing, and I took him it was a nice day out, so I took him on a picnic table, stripped him down, and he laid on that picnic table in the sun, and his lips started turning purple, and like, man, this was getting pretty critical. And this is back when I was like first starting out, because I would fish in Nebraska. I had a lake that I fished that was fed by springs, and I would fish in January for largemouth bass with a crankbait, and half the lake was frozen, and I'd fish there all winter. I prayed for snow days at school so I could go fishing. That's how bad it was. But anyway, no, that'd be something. And by the way, Chad Davison, you guys know him?
Yeah.
Missouri. He has his own line of gear, and I asked him recently about his rain gear, and it is the Dungarees site, dungarees.com, and it's called the Defender Loose Fit Heavyweight Bib. And anyway, he says he stays really dry with that gear that he wears, and so I thought I'd get that too, just to have some more, because he down in Missouri, you get those quick storms down there too, and he's got his video footage of him staying bone dry when he's out there. So that's something that people can look at too. But it's whatever is going to fit your need and where you're at, because some of us live in the South, some of us in the North, and some of us where there's monsoons and things like that. But, and then the other thing is hailstorms. Like you saw the video in Missouri there of those hailstones. That happened here too. My house was pretty much destroyed on the outside here a couple months ago, and we're still trying to get it fixed. But like I said, I've been caught in them before, and so you always look for a way out if you know the weather's going to get bad, and have an app that's reliable that you can get to quick and see. Like I have one app called Windy, and it shows lightning strikes. And so if I see lightning strike within a few miles, I'm gone. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't mess with lightning.
Yeah. I'll kind of stress too with Marty. Kind of like one of my big focuses after my second year of getting into the kayak fishing world is after I experienced the death of the kayak angler, which I'll get to here in a second. But with kayak safety, just in general, is always have a backup plan, regardless of how experienced you are, and always let somebody know where you're going. Let them know your plan. or just keep it simple, say, hey, if I'm not back home, or if you don't hear back from me by this time, contact me. If you don't hear back from me within this many minutes or whatever, come searching for me. Maybe my phone went in the water. I could have tipped over. I could have had a heart attack. Who knows? Worst case scenario type things like that. But come up with a plan. Let people know where you're at. Have these things set up in place and just have them part of your daily process. Because like anytime I go fishing at Banner, even though it's a 20-minute drive, and me and my husband share a app called Life 360.
Yeah, I was going to say we have it too.
Yeah. As long as I'm in a good cell signal, Adam can see where I'm at. And I'll still tell him, I'm like, hey, here, I've even taken him to the places where I go. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this entrance and I'm going to this spot. This is where I showed you, blah, 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 blah type of thing. I'll just say, hey, yep, I'm going to the first entrance, second entrance, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then most of the time I'll say, yep, I'm loading up and heading home type of thing. And so, we've established that, even if you're not married or whatever, if you have like a Facebook friend or somebody like that, just reach out and say, hey, I'm going to go fishing at this lake. Can you be my check-in buddy? I'd be more than happy to be your check-in buddy, man. Like, I'm all for that. Safety is just like, it is so important.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Your life is just 100% worth it.
I'll be right back. I get something I'll show you
here. The story that kind of got me really geared up about kayak safety and everything was my first full year? No, my second year of kayak tournament fishing, in a sense, was in September of 2015, I believe. Yeah. And it was a salmon tournament up in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And it was actually a pretty nice day. It was maybe 70 or something like that. And but you got to remember, Lake Michigan is still kind of cold in September. It's usually the weekend after Labor Day. So it was probably still 60s, but still 70-degree day. There was guys who were out in shorts and a t-shirt. They were kind of risking it, if something were to happen or whatnot. The wind had kind of kicked up a little bit. And this kid, Max Bokeem, he was 23, 24. Got out to some point. We don't know what happened, but he somehow got overturned and got off of his kayak. And we know that he eventually at some point succumbed to hypothermia because after we contacted Coast Guard and they found him, he had his PFD on and he wasn't too far from his kayak when they found him. And of course, he didn't have a dry suit, wetsuit on or much of that. He just had, I believe, shorts and a t-shirt on, which wasn't adequate at all for the temperature for Lake Michigan. But the one thing that really stood out to us all was he had a device called an EPIRB. And it's just like this little device type thing, like an electronic personal identification radar beacon type thing. And I don't know if it was a button, lever, or something like that, but it was obvious that he had tried to activate it, and it had failed. Yeah. Wow. And so that's what really, really stuck with me after all of that. And he was the only kayaker in that group that had such a device with him. And there's maybe a couple of people who had radios and whatnot, but every year after that event, everyone is required to have like a quote unquote like buddy that they check in with every so often, and then everyone else is required to have radios and whatnot for the event. And then, they'll monitor conditions and stuff like that. So, like, if the wind and waves are too much, they'll just restrict it to the Manitowoc River and whatnot. So, but yeah, ever since then, that was my first year kind of helping run a tournament series and experiencing things from the director side. So, like, it was very much a very eye-opening experience for sure. And so, thinking about safety and making sure that you're wearing the proper gear for the elements, whether or not you may think, oh, I'll be fine, I can handle it, think about it, really think about it. If you fall into 60-degree water, your breath is going to be taken away. Like, your body will go into shock in like less than a minute. It's insane, like how quick these things can happen and escalate. So just
Yeah.
just think about it.
Here's a card that
yes,
you can put on the American Canoe Association, or they have these, and so you can use a Sharpie and put them on our kayaks. I have rental kayaks too, so we put them on all of them, and then I put my name, but you can put your name, phone, email on there or whatever. And people can, if something would happen, they can, at least they know whose kayak it is. Let's say that you lost. I had a friend down in when we had the first Bassmaster at Possum Kingdom. A lot of people know this story, and I'm not going to say his name here, but he had an inflatable and a flash. One buddy of mine, we were on this other stream, and it rained a lot. Were you there, Mark? That first one?
Yeah.
Remember the rains, and then the mud came?
Oh, it was a bunch of rain. Yeah.
Well, a flash flood hit back in those creeks, and he was on one of those creeks with his wife, and a flash flood hit. His kayak got turned sideways. He got knocked out of it. He had an inflatable on. Guess what, though? The cartridge wasn't in it. So he got sucked under. Oh. He says he's lucky to be alive. So we were probably less than 100 yards away, but we were on the other side of this hill on another stream. And so he said he's lucky to make it. So you got to always check those little things like that, because you just never know. I wear a chest PFD. I just don't trust having them. I just don't.
I don't trust them neither, because I actually got a couple of them, and I had to replace the cartridge like every 2 to 3 years. Yeah. So your life ain't worth a cartridge being bad, and you don't know it's bad.
Yeah, like you can get an NRS or something like that, or a Bass Pro has some good ones too. But and the other thing is it'll we're talking about rain gear, but it'll also keep you warmer when it's cold. The other thing is, like, if we're fishing backwaters and you're around trees and branches that are sharp, it'll protect you that way. There's a lot of different things.
I have a Kokatat one, and it's got like the hand warmers, like you put them in there, and it's got like inside my PFD. It's really nice.
Yeah, you just feel more protected, it seems like, too. But I see a lot of people with them, and I just don't try. And I've worn a PFD since the beginning. I know we're talking about rain gear here, but that can be part of your gear that you have on. And the other thing is, you can wear it over a raincoat, and your poncho can go over the top of your life jacket. So you have plenty of layers there when it's raining and so forth.
And that's something too with rain gears. I always make sure you get one that's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You don't want a tight rain gear on you.
Yep.
Because like Marty said, there's been times where I just throw my Sims over top of my PFD. And then if I know it's going to rain all day, most of the time I've got it under my PFD.
Yeah. The other thing too with the rain, I'm thinking of these things as we go here, because
I use
checklists on my phone, and you want to make a checklist so you can have all your stuff. Because like the other day, I almost went out without my net up there, and I'm like, you better have your net when you go to Mississippi, because some of them. I mean, I put a post on Bassmaster tonight. I caught 13 species of fish there.
Wow.
Including a brown trout.
Nice.
21.5-inch brown trout.
You caught it on the river, on the Mississippi River?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
There's a picture on my Facebook page.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. And it was like, it was big. Anyway, where's that going? I'm so ADHD here.
You're good.
With it was about wearing something. The life jacket. I don't know.
PFDs.
Yeah, here's another one I thought of with the rain gear is having a hood that's sewn into the actual jacket.
Yeah.
Like I've had them before where it was a cheaper one, but it just like buttoned down and then rain will get in there. So
Yeah.
you want a hood that's actually sewn on. Like
Part of.
that's one of the things that's going to be a better
Oh.
quality rain gear.
I know what it was. Is you have a dry towel, for like wiping off your hands, but have another one, a spare one, put away in a dry area in your kayak, because that one's gonna get wet. And it wouldn't have, if you want 3 even, but I keep a couple extra in my crate. And by the way, I used the same crate for over 20 years, and I finally bought a Yak Attack one, so that lid will keep your gear dry and your towels dry in there. And maybe you want an extra something in there for clothing wise. You want to have whatever you do though. Have I have one here. Have a dry bag of some sort with all your stuff in it in your kayak, and that will help. To keep it dry if something would happen.
Cool. So what? I know Marty, you've got the bone dry and a poncho. What gear are y'all using? Is there any that you would suggest?
Oh,
Maybe even if it's not one you do have, one that you've heard is good, I guess, for like a little buyer's guide.
what can I say one more thing about clothing?
Yeah.
The absolute worst clothing you can wear is cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so many
Cotton
people
kills.
with jeans and sweatshirts, and I'm like, what are you thinking? They weigh you down, and so I wear these dry fit things. Anything that's quick dry, even the pants. So and I buy the Bass Pro, whatever pants. But the gear though, I don't know. I Cocatat and the Bass Pro has a nice selection, but anywhere you go, but you're going to get what you pay for, just like on our fishing rods.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my 2 cents worth.
And find a sale and get the good stuff, even if it's not like I used to have the Gill OS3 suit, and I had the Bass Pro 100 mile per hour bib, and I had the Gill OS3 jacket. And you can still get like the 2018 one for like $80, $75, and that jacket, it may not be like the most like 100% most comfortable, but it will absolutely keep you dry. Like there is some good gear out there that you can get for a decent price.
Yeah, I went cheap route to start with.
Yeah.
I went with the Frog Togs, and like Susie said, they're more rain resistant to me.
Yeah.
And so they didn't pan out, and it wasn't real expensive, but it was a little bit of money. So then I went with the Frog Tog Pros. I was like, oh, this is better. Well, that stuff didn't last neither. I mean, so after wasting a little bit of money, personally, in my opinion, I was wasted money. I just broke down and got a real good suit. Well, at different times, I bought them at different times because I just afford it. But definitely, like you said, sales right now. Look for sales and buy quality, and make sure it has the Gore-Tex.
And shout out to KBF. I know they have a thing with Gill where it's 25% off. They have a promo code that you could use. So, even if you can't find a sale and you wait till the winter and then you go back and listen to us then, I know that they have a promo code for it. So I holler at KBF.
Cool.
Not KBF, KBN. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've heard good things about the 100-mile-an-hour rain suit too. The only deal is with it's a heavy suit instead of a lightweight suit. So like it's pretty much just for colder months than actually during the summer.
Yeah.
And I have the Gill tournament suit that I got last year, and they have like a cold weather one, then they have like the regular tournament suit. I think now this year they can't. Every year they're coming out with something new, but that's why you can get the half off sales in the summer right now. But that suit's, I had the Gill thing before that. It's just, it fits a little slim. Like if you're a husky fella or a lady, it can be like they're made for like taller, slimmer people. But I had like the bottoms altered a little bit. But yeah. But besides being a little bit too long, man, they're just like, top shelf, good stuff. Susie.
If
Anything you'd recommend?
I mean, I haven't honestly tried many other brands just yet, besides, just the few couple that I've had, which is, the Bass Pro, if it's the 100 mile an hour,
100 mile
whatever
per
it
hour,
is. Yep. I've heard a lot of good things about like other different brands. I've heard some good things about like Avco. What's the other big one? I can't think of.
I know that the Cabela's guideware at Bass Pro, that stuff looks good. Like it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing is like, like I'd have to definitely do, some research and everything. And then just like the biggest thing for me and other women, obviously, is just, sizing issues too. I mean, a lot of times in bigger gals, trying to fit into the women's size stuff, they make it for skinny women. And we a lot of times will need the men's sizes. And a lot of times when we get those sizes, the pants are like, I mean, the legs in my bibs right now, they're probably like this much too long, but otherwise they fit just fine, So trying to find like the perfect fit of bibs is like the biggest struggle. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this struggle. I know that there's other ladies out there too who struggle finding, not just like size wise, but like even like upper size, like when it comes to PFDs too, like wearing like the chest type PFD for some women just is not comfortable at all. Sometimes it can feel like it's suffocating. So sometimes I have to resort to wearing just the regular inflatable ones, and I've been pretty lucky with those. Like I'll even test mine like after each year just to make sure that the cartridge, would have worked and whatnot. The biggest thing that I have found with those is that half of the life jacket will inflate because the Velcro was put on too tight when I've like bought a new PFD. So like what I'll do is like after I've gotten like a new one, I'll loosen it up a little bit. I'd even put up a video, gosh, this was years ago when I had tested out my first inflatable PFD, is that only half of it inflated because the other half was just so tightly on there with the Velcro, it couldn't inflate. I was like, oh, that's good to know while I tested it, and not when I fell out in the water or had to use it type of thing. So, yeah, little words of wisdom right there too. But anyway, back to brands. If I had money to, spend or whatever, I might try to go in on some, Avco. I think Sims was the other brand that I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Sims is quality, real good quality.
Right. But if, I could find a company that could make a pair of bibs, based off of my needs, front to back zipper, in the size that fits my petite form, that'd be great, so, in a perfect world.
That's right. And another thing I was thinking about is the strap in the back. I hate the bibs that I've had where it's just two straps and then they're sliding off the side the whole time.
Yeah.
Like if you want one in the back, it goes up and then it has like a wire where it connects the two in the back. So it keeps the straps. And I'm sure if you found a good deal on a bib that it just had two regular straps, you could probably do something in the back. But try to find one because, man, them things going off your shoulders, oh, it sucks. And it's not like you can have them so tight that they, because then you got a wedgie and you don't want that either. So,
Here's I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's the app and you can see the lightning strikes. That's called Windy. Yep. I've used that for a long time and it's real time. And that's a good one to have if you're going to go out and you think it might in a storm or whatever and have that handy.
I use 3 different apps.
Yeah, I have others too. Yeah, that's the one I use for lightning.
I hadn't heard of Wendy. Yeah.
And then the other thing is you can see the front. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys fit. You know, when fishing gets really good and that front is just right there, this thing will show you the exact spot of it, and that's helped me a lot with fishing. And I'll go to the lake that I think it's going to be the best at around here and do that. So it works really well for that.
Cool. So we got in safety, and that's awesome too. And anything else I missed with rain suits or safety you want people to know before we let y'all go?
I want to say something about the zippers.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the quality stuff, they seal up around the zippers because a lot of stuff don't. They'll leak through the zippers and stuff, and you can tell by looking at it that it seals up when you zip. And because I mean, anywhere you get wet, once you get wet, and if it's cold, you're miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But know the weather, what's supposed to do, and we can't guarantee it, but at least you have an idea if there's a chance of some storms or whatever. Like right now, we got a storm moving in here right now, and I can hear the thunder outside. So I'm not going.
I know if you're a tournament angler too. I know I've been in some tournaments where because I know I have good gear, like I know I've had a real advantage because some other, especially on local level, national level, almost everybody's going to have good stuff, but the local level stuff, I know because I've had good rain gear, like I've had an advantage. So it really does make a big difference because if you're cold, if you're wet, you're done, man. You're already beat. You might as well take it to the house,
Anybody ever fished a first Bassmaster at Logan Martin? I mean, I was
dry. Yeah, I
was too, but that was a lot of rain, like 3 days of solid rain.
Wow.
Yeah. If they hadn't opened the floodgates, I would have won that one. I swear to God, I was on them like you wouldn't even. But we were upriver, and it was just money. But whenever they opened the floodgates, I didn't know that because it had the weekend before it was storming, it was raining real bad. It looked the same, but I guess something to where whenever they opened the floodgate, it shut them off up there, which was really weird to me. But before that, it was like
the Mississippi. We had a little bit of rains earlier in the week last week, and the water come up just a little bit, and then right before the tournament, it dropped.
Oh yeah, a foot and a half. Yeah,
I struggled for that place. I mean, dude, there's just so many fish up there. It's silly, but it's all decision making of timing deal. Like I went to schooling fish to start with, and they were schooling right when I was there, and I could not catch them. The bait was really, really small. I just couldn't catch them.
Yeah.
And I looked way down the river, and all my secondary stuff has got boats all over it. And I was like, I should have started down there. And the next day, I didn't know where to fish, no chance to win. So I go down there and I'm catching them early. And yeah.
That's how it was for me too.
And then I come back up to where the schooling fish was and finished out my limit. Had a decent limit.
Yeah, that's how it was for us. We had 10 of us at the ramp, and we all wanted to go to the same spot, the spillway, and it dropped, and the fish were gone. And so I put myself in a hole for the first day, put up like 77, it's in 38th, and so I had the main. I thought I'm going to the main river because I know there's fish there, and that's where I went. I did really good there. And then the smallies, the mayfly hatch, of course. Mayfly hatches aren't good in a way because they're gorging themselves, and so I just had to find one. And I had smallies, literally hundreds of smallies around me busting the surface, hundreds of them. I just had to find the bigger ones, so I fished down below the little ones, and that's how I got them. And then that's how I got that.
This past weekend on lacrosse.
Yeah. You just and the guys that went 1, 2,
yesterday,
3, huh?
I said yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
The guys that went 1, 2, 3 were literally at less than a quarter mile away from me, and I couldn't see them, but they could see me. They said. And I didn't see another kayaker all day until the last 10 minutes. I never saw anybody the entire damn day too.
Yeah, I didn't have nobody near me neither.
Yeah,
but usually when I'm like that, I usually don't catch fish.
Yeah. If I'm the only one in the area, I go, oh man, it's not being very good around here.
Either winning or losing, one of the
right?
two.
Yeah, day one, there was 5 of us on one little tiny area and several bass boats, and it was not good.
I practiced in that area the first day. I seen your video today, and I seen you going down the chute, and I was like, I think I commented on your.
Did you?
I was like, that's the shortcut getting there, and I couldn't make it up it, so I rode it back going back. Yeah,
that's what happened. See, I'm the only guy. There was 10 people there. I'm the only one without a motor, and I had to pedal and paddle, and it was pretty rough. They got a little bit ahead of me, but then when they got to shoot, they all got stuck except one guy. And I paddled. I said, "Here comes a tortoise." I went by him, and then 2 of them got me back, and then. But anyway, I was only a minute behind after a 45-minute pedal to get up there. Paddle.
Wow.
And then we all kind of shared that spot, but we all worked together. But it was a good reloading spot, but they were gone. They were just gone. And so we struggled. Day 2, Day 2 was like a smallmouth fest up where I was at, and then I got some largemouth too in there. I
want to get in on a smallmouth fest.
Oh man,
I need one of those in my life. Yeah.
I went through, I think, 50 Nikos in that tournament.
Come up to the New River, Dan.
No, I'll pass.
It ain't bad
I try to
at
stay
all.
out of West Virginia, man. I don't mess with that state.
You can fish the lake. I talked to AJ and open the lake up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just fishing locals this year. My goal was I'm fishing 3 trails. My goal was 3 AOYs. It's not going to happen, but I'm close. I think I got 1 locked up. The other 2 maybe. So we'll see.
It's good to set that goal anyway.
Yeah, I've never, like, every year I go fish national stuff, KFL last couple of years, and some national events that I never had an opportunity to do it here. And this year I'm like, I'm staying home. I'm going to win an AOY. I'm going to feel good about it. And then next year I'm going to go back out. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just picked 1 major trail and then All American and then the local ones, but it's almost too much that way too. I don't every weekend. Yeah, you do. I do too. Yeah, every day. I fish every day because
I still got to go to work every now and
then. Well, I had to go walk. I had to go walk cornfields today, checking some wind damage. But no, because I'm retired, so I just go every day.
Living a dream.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all being on. I want to give you a chance to shout out anybody that makes fishing easier for you. And where can people find you online? Mark, we'll start with you.
I'd like to thank Fishing Online, Native Watercraft, Dakota Lithium Batteries, and Folks Custom Crankbaits. And he'll paint anything if you send it to him. So
nice. And Mark Edwards, just online everywhere.
Yeah, just my name on Instagram and Facebook.
They'll find him. Susie, how about you?
I'll start with obviously you guys can find me at Paddle and Fin Podcast. I'm one of the hosts at the Paddle and Fin Noobs. My sponsors: Kistler Rods, Catch Products, Bassett Baits. I would say Hopi Fishing Team, but it's still kind of up in the air this year. I don't know what's going on with Hopi Fishing Team this year. But hey, I'll still always post to brag about Hopi. So
That's right.
Outdoor handles oh my gosh, I can't talk now. Online handles, Outdoor Woman 84, Instagram, Adventures with Outdoor Woman is my other Facebook page. I'm on TikTok every now and then too. I've shared a couple musky videos that kind of sort of went viral, so I have some fun with it, so I post random stuff. So live once, gotta have some fun.
Hell yeah, Marty. How about you? Kayak Jack.
Kayak Jack, and I didn't make that name up. My superintendent called me that because my real name is Jack. And I was the only kayaker in 1997. I think I was the only kayak fisherman in the entire middle part of the country. I got made fun of for having little plastic boats on my trooper. And so anyway, Bass Pro Shops is my title sponsor, Cabela's, and I want to thank them for all they do. They do a lot for the kids stuff too here. We do run a very large kids club that's going well. And I also own and run Kayak Jack's Outfitters and Guide Service since 2004, in about 20 years. And I have Yak Gear, thank them, been with them since they started. Ice Hole Power for my battery, and Attorney X. They power us and get us on. They kind of brought everybody together with that technology Dwayne Walwy's got there.
Yeah, during COVID, that made it all possible.
That was amazing. I remember back when we did it with paper and pencil out, little card, you filled it out. Even before the camera stuff, we didn't do the picture.
Wow.
And then I'm trying to think. I said Kayak Jack's Outfitters, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
And Vending Branches. I've been with them for quite a while as well. And I'd like to thank my wife who lets me do all this.
Smart man. I like it.
She if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't get to go. And she's still working so I can keep going.
Yeah.
No.
And Susie, thank your husband for letting us borrow you for a little bit. And Mark, thank your one-horn goat.
And another thing.
He passed away. He's not around anymore.
That's right. I'm sorry, man. I mean to bring up
my goat.
That's
I missed him. I need another goat. I like
Do you really?
Yeah.
I was going to say, too, I got a YouTube channel, Kayak Jack, and then Facebook, Instagram, all that good social media stuff. And I know that's kind of our platform, all of us as anglers, and people love to hear the stories,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I appreciate y'all being on. I'll shout out Z-Pro. I know seems like everybody's got battery sponsors. Man, I love having a motor. I love it, like covering so much water. And man, I ran it out one time, but that was my fault because I was at 100% all day. I went I don't even know how far I went, but it was a ridiculous amount of distance. And but yeah, I love my battery and love my motor, so I appreciate it. But thank y'all for being on, and thanks everybody listening. We'll see y'all again next week.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.
There, guys.